not the right one.
It was like
Oh,
an a side comment of how strong Jinwoo was compared to the Monarchs currently in the light novel, which I actually liked. Maybe we'll get into that. Maybe we are live, by the way, as far as I know.
refreshing. Okay, yep. Looks like we're live.
So, I mean, I started to go down the road of despair, but I decided not to. I decided not to go down the road of despair and try to be positive. Positive.
I just got my reaction up.
I can't watch. I can't call you out on that.
I think on the Assure scans translation, they said that the Shadow Mark and the Dragon are the two strongest, but they didn't say who was number one and who was number two. So I don't know if there's just a difference between all the different translations or not. I've only seen the one.
Yeah, I looked for a couple of different ones.
But I think also they're accounting for the fact of the Shadow Monarch being at full power, and obviously Jin is not.
Yes.
Like like all of Jin's class skills are still not maxed out yet.
That is very true.
He still gets daily quests, and he still gets stat points from his daily quest. So like
Yeah,
the system's still running, so it's still strengthening him.
and they did allude to the administrator being on his side or whatever. And but I also take them considering that he's not at full strength as them assuming that the Monarch is going to take over Sung Jin-woo. Now he still might. I mean, that will still very very well be the case. But I don't know if he's maybe showing favor to Jin-woo or what. And maybe Jin-woo is going to. Maybe the intention of the Monarch is to let him continue to stay part human or whatever. Um, but I guess they're completely expecting a takeover or a takeover of Sung Jin-woo's consciousness or like vessel or whatever.
They definitely were. Christian is on the podcast. Yo, okay, might as well get started so we can go ahead and explain everything. What's going on, everybody? Hunters Association podcast here. Soul Leveling 152 is out. We are discussing it. Now, as you can see, we got a new person on the podcast for today. JD is indisposed of. Don't know what he's doing, but he's not here. Seraph is also indisposed of. Uh, Same thing. Don't know what he's doing. But at the same time, when that kind of thing does happen, if you are in the Discord, you are a regular member, you can be on the podcast also. Now, Kristen is our resident light novel reader, so therefore, there's certain things he can say, certain things he can't say, but he's usually very good at not spoiling. So therefore, he is on the podcast. I am JC, aka alwaysjcarson. Got Trent Money. Sir, how you doing today?
Good man, good chapter. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited. I'm excited.
Kristen, is this your first time? Is your first time on the podcast? This podcast?
It's my first solo podcast, my second Hunters Association podcast.
Okay, first and then second. All right, let's get into the chapter. I had questions. I dug deep this time because if you saw my reaction to it, I was very, very disappointed. Um, we got to see some dialogue between the monarchs, which was good. We got to see the faces of all the monarchs, which is also good. I didn't think we would get the monarch of corruption, the female monarch. I didn't think we would get to see her, but we got to see her. And we
So
learned
we
some.
call it. Is that what we calling her? The monarch of corruption?
I can't.
We and what?
No,
I
No,
can't remember
Is
what
that
she
what they?
is.
Yeah, did they
she
even give her the title? Did they even say? I don't know what they
they,
said.
they
It
didn't, but she's the monarch of the plague.
plague. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it
what I
was
figured. I
all in
figured it
my
was some
chat.
type of
So
poison or bug or some shit like
yeah,
that.
right. So I mean, I guess locust plague type of situation. Yeah, I can understand that. But yeah, we actually got that. Um, my question is to both of you. Christian's read light novel. Trent has not. But just in the whole scene of the Frost Monarch, basically like begging someone to help him fight Jin Woo. Did that was that off putting? Like is Jin Woo stronger than everybody already? Either one of you. How'd you feel about that?
I don't, I don't know about currently, but the whatever they remember about the Shadow Monarch, the other guys didn't want no smoke with it.
No
You know,
smoke.
they basically was like, yo, they say, yo, remember what happened to the White Monarch or whatever, which they said the Monarch of the White Flame, which that's either that dude that basically like I don't know if it's a guy we haven't seen or the guy in the white and red that basically we didn't see his hands. I don't know if something happened to his arms or if he just got it behind his back.
Oh, he's talking about Baron, by the way.
Monarch of the White
Okay.
Flame is Baron, the demon monarch.
Okay, the demon monarch. Okay. In my reaction, I throw out a couple hypotheses. Baron was one of them, um, but yeah. So they basically was like, yo, we don't want any issues with that, and they were the ones to point out the administrator being, basically on the side, but being able to make a duplicate or whatever. So it just seems like they're operating like in my reaction. I compare them to the Kotsky meeting, like when they're like meeting against
Yes.
against like the ghetto Mazu or whatever. Um, they seem to have their own like still individual wills. Like they're like, yo,
Agendas,
like
yeah.
yeah. They're like, I'm not messing with this one. I'm out of this one. So that was interesting.
So Christian, from the light novel side of it, you read the light novel, you saw what happened, and I actually read it this time, so I have a little bit more insight into what actually happened. But how did you feel about the chapter, at least that part of it, knowing what you know?
It, I don't think that meeting was much different. I think the meeting was, itself between the different monarchs went on about the same between the light novel and the web comic. So it felt right. Like I'm, it might feel weird, but like there's two things to consider. The first one is up until this point, and I've made this point several times. Monarchs roll together, with the one exception of the Frost and Gogun He.
Right.
But otherwise, you know, even in the past
Wait.
story,
Are you referring to the monarchs and the rulers? Then you did say Goga. Hey.
no, but I'm talking about when the monarchs attack somebody, they've
Oh, you
always
just mean that specific instance?
yeah, they've always
Oh,
run
okay.
together. So like when they attacked Ashbourne back in the flashback, there was two of them. There was the demon and the beast. When they attacked Chris, there was three of them. I want to imagine that there was the Brazilian hunter on number 7 on the list. There was probably at least two present. So I think the only exception to this rule so far has been the Frost Monarch attacking Gogun He, because Gogun He was a broken vessel. So
Uh,
once again, you see them meeting back up, and
Am I the only one that lost them?
yeah, I lost it for a quick second. Uh, yeah. So I mean, to Christian's point, yes, it was a little off-putting for me when I read the chapter, and I was like, why is the Frost Monarch asking for help? Now, when I sat back and thought about it, I was like, well, you know what? This is war. This is not about. This isn't Dragon Ball Z. This isn't any other, shonen manga where they're 1v1ing for pride's sake. They're trying to win a battle. They're trying not to die. So of course he's gonna ask for help. I mean, it only makes sense from what I know, right? I mean, it only makes sense. Even if he thought he might be able to win by the slightest of margins, why would he not ask for help? It's only the smart thing to do. So when it comes right down to it, and they said that the actual fighting the Shadow Monarch was suicide, like a suicide mission, it it threw me off, right? Because I was like, Jinwoo isn't at the current moment the strongest he can be. He's still leveling up. He's still getting stronger, but at the same time, it kind of threw like the power scaling side of me into it, and I was like, all right, here we go. So are we to assume that the Shadow Monarch is probably, well, they did say he was one of the strongest monarchs. So are we to assume that
Yeah.
nation levels 1v1
So
are as strong as the Monarchs 1v1? Because they've been jumping them, but you haven't seen a 1v1 fight because they don't think it's advantageous to do that.
ah, I don't know if I could say no. I would say no because I would say no because they've already lost to Sung Jin Woo.
Well, I
We've
mean,
already seen the best of the best who's Sung Jin Woo, who's to your point not quote unquote finished. You know what I'm saying, or quote unquote like fully developed. So he would maybe be right now high to mid scale monarch. But to your first question, I would think either the Frost Monarch is one of the weaker ones, or which is debatable, or maybe like you said, it's just for a surety. Because at that point, if you're all on the same level, you may not be able to take each other 1v1 anyway. Like there's probably, Sung Jin Woo is different because he's basically part monarch, but there's probably 1v1 nation rank versus nation rank. It's probably still be a very difficult battle across the board. So it's probably still, they would probably still do better to jump in any scenario to jump somebody rather than to go 1v1.
I mean, see, my thing was I thought I was putting all the monarchs around the same level, like they were all around the equal level, and they were going to fight the nation levels because it's a war that's been going on for centuries, for eons. So therefore, if the monarchs are that much stronger than the rulers that are bestowing their powers upon whoever is in that world, then the war should have been over a long time ago. The balance of power seems to be too great in one side. The monarchs seem to be way stronger than the rulers are, if that's the case. Right?
But there's a difference though,
Okay.
because the monarchs are using 100% of their power of their vessel, but the rulers are only bequeathing a portion of their power to their vessels. So, like, if I look at the Gogun Hihai fight versus the Frost Monarch, and I say, well, what if it was Thomas or Lu? What if the ruler that's bequeathing power to one of those two nation ranks goes 100%? Does the fight go different? Possibly,
Possibly, yes.
because we're only looking at the limit of what we've seen, which is not a lot.
Right.
So to say, well, where are the nation ranks at? It's like, well, the nation ranks have their ceiling, but should they do the same thing that Gogun He did and get completely taken over by a ruler, would they become stronger? Maybe.
I would say yes. I
Okay.
would say they fare better than. I would say they still lose, but they fare a lot better than Go Gung He did because like you said, he was already basically at his limit. Um, but yeah, so because obviously like the Frost Monarch really basically kind of washed him. It was really no difficulty. Um, yeah, so basically, I think that it becomes a mid to high diff fight.
Okay, so I'm gonna I can't help it. I can't help it. I'm gonna get a little bit to my theory and ask this question. Just a little bit. Sung Jin Woo is the Shadow Monarch. We know that Sung Jin Woo is stronger at his current form than all the nation levels that are currently on Earth right now. The strongest nation level was Thomas Andre, no difficulty. It wasn't even really a fight. So if you see that, Jin Woo is not even at his pinnacle of power yet. And he can beat all the nation levels right now. And then they're saying that there's a Dragon Monarch that is potentially stronger than what Jin Woo is. Like, this war should have been over a long time ago. So, do you not find that weird that the balance of power is shifted so much to one side? Now, I'm going to ask you this question. Now, I believe that soul leveling is a balancing act. It was a very equal fight, but I tend to think I'm gonna have to try to figure out how this theory is gonna go. That Ashbourne, the person, the Karama that is inside Jinwoo, was a ruler at some point because he is so strong at
Okay,
his.
hold on. Say that one more time.
I think the Ashbourne, which is the person that's inside Jinwoo right now, giving it the power right now.
The
Well,
Osborne.
Ashbourne, the one that they refer to in this chapter, one that's inside Jinwoo right now,
Yeah.
was a ruler at some point.
So wait. So he's a ruler and a monarch.
He was a ruler. Like, let's think of it as like Lucifer, the devil that we know now, is a fallen angel, and therefore now he's a monarch. Think of it in that terms. That's where I'm going with it, because it doesn't make any sense to me, because the power balance between the rulers and the monarchs, if Jin Woo can beat everybody by himself, and there's someone who is as strong as he is, or even stronger, that don't make any sense. This war should have been over a long time ago. But if Jin Woo was on the other side, then that makes it a stalemate. But then take it back a few chapters when they show the past of Jin Woo, or the Ashbourne, the person the original Shadow Monarch was fighting, and almost won the war, and then was betrayed by the other monarchs that were there. You're like, okay, well, what, he changed sides and then was betrayed by the other monarchs. You're like, okay, why would they betray one of their own kind if they're about to win the war? It doesn't make any sense. At least not to me. So if I'm equating the nation levels and the monarchs, I'm saying they're equals. And then you have this dragon monarch, and then you have Ashbourne, which is inside Jin Woo, and they're somewhat equal, and that's why the war was equal until Jin Woo's Karama went to the other side, and then you see what the story is now. Or do I sound crazy?
I won't say you sound crazy. What do you think, Christian?
I just don't see the evidence. For one thing, I I believe that the rulers are the stronger side. Like if you look at it, the monarchs are able to take a vessel and go onto Earth at 100%, but the rulers can't even go onto Earth because there's just not enough magic to support them going there. So basically, the Earth can't even support them until it reaches a certain saturation, and then they'll finally be able to move their physical bodies, spiritual bodies down to Earth to start the war.
Right?
So that makes me feel like the rulers, power wise, are stronger than the monarchs. Plus, I don't feel like that the tactics of the monarchs have certainly been in your face, like what they did with Govan He and with Chris before they attacked. They sectioned off the area into basically a space separated from the Earth, and kind of like almost like this guerrilla tactic. So it doesn't look like they're trying to face the rulers face to face.
Well, of course not. I mean, like
Yeah, or multiple at a time. Now, how many rulers are there specifically?
seven,
7.
7. And as of right now, including Jin Woo, there are 9 monarchs. Not alive altogether, but there are 9. That's why my
Well,
8 and 8 Jin Woo went to the other side, or his monarch went to the other side. But here's the thing, right? If you know that a ruler at 100% is stronger than you are, but they can't get through the or to the physical plane unless there's enough magic, what are you gonna do? You're gonna get to that ruler or the vessel that they're inside and kill them. By which of this is war, so we're gonna tag team them, triple team them, and kill them before they can get 100%. Is
Well,
what you're
here's the
seeing. What you're
question.
seeing them do. Okay.
Eh, Here's the question. Why did the Frost Monarch at first, when he, ran into Sung Jin Woo, it was almost like, he was like, yo, why aren't you doing what you're supposed to be doing? You know what I'm saying? Or why haven't you met up with us type shit? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
And then he goes immediately to the, group, and it's basically on some like, yo, help me kill this guy. You know what I'm saying? Not really on some like, wait for him to awaken because then he'll be on our side type crap. It was more like, why did he go immediately to fuck it, let's kill him
I
when
got you.
go ahead.
I got you. This my whole theory is going on here, but I'll do it again anyways. So if you go back to the architect fight and you see the past Shadow Monarch fighting, he was betrayed by 2 people. 2 people were in that fight, or 2 other armies. You had Baron, and then you had the Beast Monarch. And when he was about to win the war, he was betrayed by those 2. The other monarchs weren't there, so they don't even know. So Baron's dead right now, so he can't talk. And the Beast Monarch is siding with the Frost Monarch to go kill Jin Woo before anybody else knows anything about it.
So that means the Frost Monarch at least knows, because why would he jump to killing them?
Well, because he's saying that the Shadow Monarch is in his right. He is not in his right mind. That he is being controlled by a human, and he knows that the human is continuing to get stronger. He's like, if he fully awakens as a human, then he's stronger than all of us right now. So we need to go and kill him because he's a problem. If he's not,
But
if,
he
if he's
just
not
didn't
on our
specifically
side,
say that.
well, I mean,
He seemed
he said,
to know that he was going to get taken over eventually, or they were going to kill him, one or the other.
well, it seems like, at least when I read it, it seemed like the original plan was they all took certain bodies, look humanoid. They took bodies so they can get to Earth, and they are controlling these bodies. But for some reason, when you get back to, I think the beginning of the second season, when they said the architect would take care of what's happening with Jin Woo, then the Shadow Monarch should have taken over Jin's body, but he didn't. And he realized that he didn't take over Jin's body because he's still using daggers laced with poison. And he said Ashbourne would not do that type of trickery, quote unquote trickery. So he is still being controlled by his human mind. And so he didn't know if Ashbourne is ever going to take over. But as of right now, he does know that Jin Woo is in control of the body. He still has all the power. Because he did grab him by his neck in the last chapter. He's like, this is not supposed to be happening right now. Following?
I'm following. I was waiting to see if Christian was going to say anything. I guess he can't at this point.
Oh, well, I mean, as far as the events of things, if you look at things at the beginning of season 2, you see Frost Monarch and Yogamont meeting up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're discussing the brilliant light in Korea. They're discussing Logia showing up in Japan, and they're talking about the architect taking care of the Shadow Monarch. And so at that point, it has to be in the Frost Monarch's mind that at that point in time, he's like, okay, the architect is going to take care of the Shadow Monarch. And so it feels like these monarchs can't communicate unless they're face to face,
Right.
right? And so the two of them split up after Daddy Wu comes chasing them, right? Japan happens, America happens, and Frost Monarch goes to take care of the bright light in Korea. When Jin Woo shows up, he's thinking, well, this is supposed to be taken care of already. But
Right.
then he gets attacked, and Jin Woo chases him off. Well, Jin Woo tries to fight him. Oh, Seraph is saying invite. He's in chat.
Oh, okay.
um, and so I think the Frost Monarch then goes two different ways, because he's kind of like, well, let me kind of stretch out the time, because it appears what was supposed to happen didn't, and that the Shadow Monarch did not take over the body of Jin. And he heads back to and calls a meeting with everybody and goes, okay, something went wrong.
Right.
And so at this point, he might be thinking that two things. One is that Jin is more of a liability than an asset. You know, he'll be more of a problem than he is help.
Right.
And okay, I forgot my other point. but that kind of generally is what I'm thinking. Is at some point he was like, okay, he's going to be on our side. The architect fails, but he doesn't know. He meets up with Jin, and then he comes back and says, okay, something failed. We need to take care of this before it becomes a problem.
Right. And that's my line of thinking. But they know that at this current moment, that Jin Woo isn't, of course, as strong as the Shadow Monarch. They know. So hey, he's not as strong as he's supposed to be. So let's go ahead and take care of him now before
Oh,
he really is a problem.
yeah. That okay. That was the second thing I was going to say. Is they're also afraid. Well, he is not afraid. Probably like the Frost Monarch, but you can see why the Beast Monarch did jump in, because the Beast Monarch witnessed Ashbourne kill Baron. So there are monarchs there that are like, if he fully, if Ashbourne does fully come back, I'm in trouble.
There's a problem. Yeah.
So that's probably another reason why they're saying, even if Ashbourne does fully take over, it might not be a good thing for us.
Yes, I like it. I like it. Seraph, you here?
Hello,
What's
how you
going
guys
on, bro?
doing?
Just another Wednesday, just another soul leveling, just another conversation. I went kind of deep into my theory of what's going on with Jin Woo, um, the Shadow Monarch, Ashbourne. Where do we start? Like, first of all, you read the chapter, correct? Were you
I have read the chapter.
okay?
Yes, I read it
So,
earlier today.
how you feeling about the chapter, man? Just little recap.
Um, I really enjoy it. Enjoyed it. Seeing all the monarchs was really cool, especially in one spot. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's a spectacle that I thought I would like never see, and yet here we are seeing it. So that's really sick to know to see.
Yes, it is.
And
So,
then them trying to pick out who is going to be the next president of the Hunters Association was really cool too. Wu Jin Cho is a really good pick because he's always been the right hand man of the Humby Golden. You know,
so okay. Whether my theory is right or wrong, there is there was they made a proclamation, or they said that two things they didn't think would happen. Number one, they didn't think that they would find, or the Shadow Monarch would find a body that was strong enough to be the vessel to come to Earth.
hmm
And then they said that the same thing for the Dragon Monarch. That's the reason why he wasn't there either. Now I'm assuming that he is going to be something like the rulers. I'm assuming that the magical energy that is required for him to be on Earth hasn't been accumulated yet. So that's why he can't find a body. So therefore, he's going to wait until this magical energy is strong enough for him to actually come to Earth. Then when he comes to Earth, it's pretty much end game, pretty much game over. But at the same time, I have to have an adversary for that. So I'm putting Jinwoo in that place right now, and that's why I said Jinwoo was a ruler because number one, he has ruler's authority. Ruler's authority didn't come out of nowhere. Now, it did come from a rune, which Christian did remind me. It did come from a rune, but
It did,
the
yes.
system was guiding him the entire time, telling him which gates to go to, which gates he had to go to, which who he had to fight. The runes came from Egress when he won. The necromancer thing wasn't even a choice. He had a yes or no choice. He didn't have more than one that he could have done. It was a hidden class. He had a choice, and once he chose the necromancer choice, he automatically upgraded to the Shadow King. So I mean, like it was all destined and planned out for him from the start. It wasn't like he really had too much of a choice. You go back and read the chapter because I definitely did.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is, and what my theory can't figure out is why in the world, if Ashbourne was a ruler to begin with, why would he go to the other side? Why would he fight for the other side? That makes no sense to me at all. If it's good versus evil, you're trying to win a war, why would you go to the other side? Unless something happened.
I'm gonna let you keep going. Me and Christian are not allowed to answer.
All I'm going to say is you're missing pieces.
There are a lot of pieces you are missing. There's something. Yeah.
Now, are those pieces that we have seen in the story, or pieces that we don't even have access to?
Nah, not yet. We don't have access to that yet.
It's coming. It's coming.
It'll get there when it gets there. And I agree, Kenny. The new chapter was indeed very entertaining.
I mean, as far as the new chapter or this chapter goes, I am very pleased that there is someone who stronger than Jinwoo, even in his full potential. It feels like now, okay, Trent, I have from this chapter alone, I have a little light novel expertise if you want to hear it. Just from this chapter, no spoilers.
Okay, I'm gonna listen.
Now, in this chapter, it said that the Frost Monarch was about equal power to what Jinwoo was now. But he wanted more insurance, and that's why he recruited, is what they've been doing. They recruited other people. But, as of right now.
Oh, is that like quote unquote about?
Well, it said equal, but I don't know how they're going to do it in the webtoon. But he said equal to the Shadow Monarch currently. But he wanted insurance, so that's why he recruited other people so that he would know he would win. That was the only saving grace to me because I was going through the chapter and I was like, if he's already stronger than all the monarchs, then there's no point of the story going. But I read it. I read it multiple times.
There's just that unknown with the human creativity and just whatever on that do. Especially if he's about the same power level or the same power level.
But he's bringing, it's a 3v1 fight currently.
Be toast like whatever we've been talking about for a long time as far as like when he ends up taking this L, he's about to be toast. I don't know what'll happen as far as saving him, but if they run up on him, he's done so. He may shadow exchange out of there,
Yes.
before something dire happens. But either that or again maybe his dad saves him or something else. But
That's what I'm
um,
going with. There's nobody else out there.
well, there's also the other nation rank hunters.
They are. And
And they end up now that they could just be writing that he's issued to protect them, and they end up protecting him. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, who knows?
I'll give it that much. I think it's gonna be a fight that he's not ready for, especially not a 3v1 fight. Um, the Beast Monarch has a little bit of a reason for it not to get out that he betrayed him to begin with, so that's why he's there. But I mean, yeah, I'm expecting Jinwoo's first loss, even though it's 3v1. I'll take it, and I'm expecting him to be saved by someone, whether it's his dad or if the other nation levels are coming up to save him. But I could be wrong also. Jinwoo has a whole army. He could go and, level up somewhere. I'm not sure where it's going to be, but he could level up before the
One in
fight.
middle booth, one on right side mid. I apologize.
It's fine. So I was looking up like right side mid what?
I apologize heavily.
No, it's fine. Okay, so the question is it still going to be the Jinwoo show and he's going to just do what he does and level up and win?
Or do you think he's
Well,
gonna take a L?
I'm going to look for this
we've
L forever. I'm L all day.
we've already, and like correct me if I'm wrong, we've already been confirmed he's getting it now. Like we allowed that spoiler a long time ago
It
that
was
he was going to
JD
eventually
did give
take
the
it out.
spoiler a long time ago that he's taking the L. It was about a year ago now.
Mm-hmm.
As he doesn't remember, but that's fine.
So yeah, if he does take that L, I don't know.
But what do you
If he
consider an L?
Look,
take it at
At
this
this
point,
point, I'm pretty sure a considered L would be having Jinwoo run away,
yeah.
Okay.
having Jinwoo take blood, or unconscious.
I would.
blood is different. He bled during the Monarch fight. So
You got to do a little bit more, but he got to do a little bit more to bleed. But if he gets knocked unconscious, he's done. If he gets knocked unconscious, he's dead. I don't even think. I don't. He may lose consciousness once he gets like into safety, but like if they're there to kill him, they ain't going unless they have other plans. It's like letting the monarch manifest itself or whatever. Yeah, he can't get knocked unconscious like mid fight. He'll be done.
I'm going. I'm giving the One Piece analogy here. Because Luffy got knocked unconscious like 3 times now from Kaido. Those are all losses. If he gets knocked unconscious or has to run away, I don't care if it's 3v1. At this point, they made Jinwoo so overpowered that even if he has to run from a fight, that's an L. I want it. I need the L to come for Jinwoo. He's not going to die.
Here's the thing. I don't know as well. If he goes in, if they pop up 3v1, the first thing he'll probably say is, "I can't do this." You know what I'm saying? He may off top be that. And so I wouldn't classify it as an L if he immediately says, "You know what? I can't fuck with these niggas." You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think he would do that because he also we saw him get timid when he met the giant monarch. You know what I'm saying? 3v1. 3v1, he's gonna be like, okay, these boys is for real. I could have take one, but I don't know about 3. You know what I'm saying? So he'll be. I think if he flees like immediately, then I would say no. But they'll probably end up trapping him in a realm or whatever. It'll probably be a lot harder to escape. That's probably another reason why they gang up on people, because it's a lot harder to escape from a broken realm with more than, you know what I'm saying, if there's more than like one person basically keeping it up or guarding it or whatever. But yeah, bro, I think it's gonna I think that's gonna end up happening.
I won't give him an L if he's smart enough to run when he sees he's getting jumped. I just don't see that happening. It's been so long since he's. I don't know. He ever ran from a fight before? I just don't.
Yeah, but Sarah's okay. So like, if he goes in, he starts banging, and he is like taking that. He's getting his ass whooped, and he leaves. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm being technical, but in any realm, like it is technically an L. But I like to give him an L, he has to like be in some form of combat. He has to get beaten, like, or it has to be apparent that he can't overcome the guy,
Right.
or like in all of his battles, he's been like nothing else has survived. He's killed everything. So for his prey to basically survive, that's an L. You can say into a hunter's perspective.
I'll give you that. But I'm expecting blood, broken bones. I'm expecting like a really big loss. That's I don't care if he's jumped at this point. I want Jinwoo to like think. I want to think during the chapter: is he going to survive this? That's what I want. Anything less will be an injustice to the story. At this point, he's
Yeah,
won so much.
I agree.
He's won so much.
I agree. But here's the thing: what does he do to level up after that? You know what I'm saying? Like, does he just go handle many gates? Like, that would be kind of weak. What is the way that he comes back? If this is going to be like you know, like you mentioned, like a One Piece or like a, Dragon Ball Z, like come back and like I'm gonna come back and whoop your ass the next time. Like, what does he do different, or does he meet the administrator during this time, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know. Maybe he just quote unquote unlocks more of the Shadow Monarch's power. I mean, he's still continuing leveling up, so you just never know what kind of. I mean, the system is technically still working. So, I mean, there could be another class quest come up. Like you never know. I don't know. I can't answer that question. But there's plenty of ways that he could do it besides dungeons. But that could involve the system. That could involve other rulers, the actual forms of the rulers. Because they never actually die. They just have to find a new host. So,
No, they die.
well, I mean, just
Rule,
like when he killed
rulers
Gogun
and
He,
monarchs die.
he said that you have to find a new host. It might take you a year or two.
Yeah, well, yeah, well, no, well, they have to find new vessels,
That's what I'm
but the
saying,
host,
but they're not
the host
dead.
is still alive.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're not dead. They just have to find new vessels that can contain them. But they don't need a vessel to contain them for that long because Gogun He was a broken vessel, so they can just find a weaker one and talk. I guess if they really needed to, maybe. I think that's why this war never ends. Like the actual rulers can never. They're like angels, spiritual beings that can never die, and the actual monarchs are too strong whenever they actually do meet the rulers because they can't give them enough power. I'm guessing. So it
Well,
keeps.
what? They're always careful, but like monarchs and rulers can die, and then once they die, they're gone forever.
But when
Like that's what happened to Baron. The Baron that showed up in the Demon Tower is a replica.
yeah, I
It's
get
not the real Baron. It's just a replica. The giant monarch, after Jin cut his head off,
yeah he's
he's
dead.
gone.
Yeah.
He's never coming back.
Okay. What about the rulers though? The rulers like his
Well, they're
vessel's dead.
if we go off what the giant monarch said, both monarchs and rulers are spiritual bodies. So if they're gone, they're gone.
I mean that's what he said, but at the same time, you had the Frost Monarch having a conversation and saying, like, if I kill you now, like, how long would it take you to find a new body? Like he was saying that he could come back.
Well, yeah, because the ruler wouldn't be dead. Rulers are like banks; they're just lending their power
Well,
out
that's what I'm
to
saying. Yeah,
people.
but like, okay, so if an actual ruler in their spiritual form, as in the angel form, came down,
It's like once the earth is all saturated with magic and the rulers come descend down onto earth and start the war. If a monarch takes out one of those rulers, that ruler's not coming back. He's
oh,
dead.
I was so if you go back into the past when rulers at the very end of the flashback came down
to meet the Shadow Monarch. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, so the rulers actually do come down.
yeah, like that. Right now they're just a bank. They lend power to vessels and they open gates to pour magic power into the planet that they're having the war on.
But it seems like a double-edged sword because the more that they pour into it, it seems like the strongest, or I'm gonna say the strongest, the dragon monarch, the more they pour into it, they allow him to be able to get to Earth.
Yeah, like, but I still think the rulers are the strongest, and the reason why is because, like I said, they only lend portions of their power to vessels, minus the dragon and sometimes the shadow. Most of the other monarchs can 100% take over a vessel, right? But the shadow and the dragon have to find vessels strong enough to hold them. But when it comes to the rulers, they never find a vessel to hold 100% of their power. They can only give fragments to their vessels. So there is no human strong enough to hold 100% of a ruler's power. Is what I think.
Is that why it's called the fragment instead of just
Yeah.
the ruler's light, or like the whatever brilliant light?
Yes, I believe that's why it's always called a fragment of luminosity, fragment of brilliant light. They're doing two things at the same time, so they're not going to give all their power to one thing. They have to open up gates and let all those captured armies go through. But at the same time, they divert a portion of their power towards a chosen vessel.
That would make sense because what's going on, Lothar? That would make sense because the Frost
Welcome,
Monarch
Lothar.
did
Welcome, bro.
say that they are on the run.
Yeah,
So it,
like
it kind of means like they're I guess the
like
guerrilla tactics would make sense. Like they're killing them as they can, but if they ever reached full power, then they would lose.
yeah. So they're like you said, when they find a vessel, they snuff it out so that the rulers have almost no influence over the planet.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. Still
What what
gonna
will what will eventually happen is eventually, and we already know this because of the conference, is there's 9 giant spots in the atmosphere in the magosphere that are building up now, and they said that during the conference that there's these 9 just giant masses of mana that are starting to build up now. And so, like you said, we could be getting to the end game. They could be making that last push to saturate the earth with mana, and now we're going to start seeing the big boys come out soon.
that would be good for me if the actual rulers came out, give some sort of like guess other side to what's going on, but I don't know. I feel like it's too late for them. It is. I don't know. Maybe the if the actual rulers came out, then the monarchs would be. No, I don't know. I feel like if that were the case, then I don't know. I don't know. I got nothing.
I would I would say I would put it this way: depending on who shows up first, whoever shows up last of the party is probably the strongest. Because say enough magic finally shows up that the rulers show up first, then I would say then the dragon emperor would be stronger.
Oh, but yeah,
Because
yeah,
it takes
100%.
because it takes even more for him to show up. But if the dragon shows up, then I would say, and the rulers don't yet, I would say the rulers are the strongest. So I guess at that point it becomes a waiting game of who shows up first, who shows up last.
That is how it usually goes.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
That's how it usually goes for everything. I am. Yeah, I can't think of a theory with this. I'm a little lost on this one. I'm still gonna say the dragon is probably stronger, but unless there is a ruler out there that is equal to the dragon monarch. But I still
So,
think
okay, go ahead. You still think?
I still go with my theory. I still think Jinwoo was at one point a ruler. Or not Jinwoo, but the
Ashbourne.
Ashbourne, the Kurama that's inside of him was a ruler.
I
Not
just
just a
don't see
ruler.
it.
I'm
I
thinking he
just
was the
don't see the
strongest
evidence.
one.
Like I just
Right
don't see
now,
the
did you see?
evidence.
Yeah,
Look,
I still agree with Christian there. What do you think
look. I'm
about?
gonna tell you that a person that has ruler's authority, which is the telekinesis power that the other nation levels have, like the monarchs don't have that. So therefore, I mean, like it literally
Well,
told you that ruler's authority is a power that he has.
the only thing that I understand, but the only thing that makes me question about that is how he got it. Is because he got it from a rune from Igris, while none of the nation ranks would have to do that. They just received it automatically through the fragment of brilliant light.
Okay, I got you.
I would.
I was ready for this.
Well,
Ready.
but let me finish this here. If what you said was true, why didn't he just get it like he did Domain of the Monarch or Shadow Exchange? Like why wasn't Ruler's Authority a reward in that sense instead of coming from a rune?
Well, because in my theory is that if Ashbourne was at first he was an angel type or a ruler, and he converts to the other side, you see the darkness that comes over him. So therefore, he has shadow monarch powers instead of the ruler's power. So it's not something he would get to begin with. So to begin with, number one, Jinwoo wasn't strong enough. He was a human that was leveling up. So they gave him a rune that was Dominator's Touch that ended up upgrading once he was strong enough to Ruler's Authority. Because it didn't upgrade until I think after he fought Baru. So therefore, he had a lower rune power so he could control it. But then once he got stronger and was able to control it, it turned into Ruler's Authority. And everything was guided by the system. Every step, whether he was told to kill somebody who had, killing intent, when it told him he had to train, when it told him he had to go to certain gates and defeat these gates, everything was given to him by the system. So yeah, it gave him a lower form of this rune or this ability, but he couldn't handle the ruler's authority because he wasn't anywhere near nation level when he first got the ability to begin with. He got the rune. Therefore, of course he couldn't handle it, so why would you give it to him?
Well, yeah, but he couldn't get Domain of the Monarch either until he was like level 70.
Yeah, once again,
But
once
he
he
hit that
levels up, he
level,
gets stronger
it
and he's
locked up
able to
a lot.
control more. It's like a video game.
I
It
don't know.
is like a video game. The stronger he gets, the more he can control. Ashbourne is a monarch now, but he was, opinion only, was a ruler. Therefore, the ruler's power is going to be still there, even if he's a monarch. Now, could be wrong.
I don't know. It doesn't convince me.
But yeah,
Like it's just inconsistent with how everybody else does it. So that's why I'm like, well, it just doesn't match up.
well, I mean, it is inconsistent of how the rulers do it now. But at the same time, I mean, doesn't mean anything as of right now. You're looking at
What
Ashborn.
race is Ashborn?
Yeah. Oh, so what?
What race is Ashborn?
I have no idea.
Yeah, no idea.
He's this giant armored guy on a horse.
You know what I'm saying? So what I got at this point, I'm basically right there with Christian. I don't think that's the case because it's like at that point, he just seems to be the pure blooded, monarch. That's just what they're referring to by him by name. I think whatever the special thing is probably with Sung Jin Woo. Somebody in the comments earlier said like maybe Sung Jin Woo was like also like a vessel for a brilliant light, like prior to becoming, um, taken over by the Shadow Monarch or like merge with the Shadow Monarch or whatever. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, Igris was a living thing when he got killed by Jinwoo. So I think, like, if Jinwoo didn't use that rune, he
Was
probably
he
could have gave
though?
that. He
Yeah, I
probably
mean,
could.
he's
He
just
could have.
like any
Yeah.
other denizen. They're all living.
Well, he had to be living. If he wasn't living, Jinwoo
Or was it
wouldn't
just like a
and
system
extract his
thing?
shadow.
Yeah, so I'm saying like he's definitely a system thing. The system literally at that point.
Like a duplicate? Was it really
No, I don't
kind of
think
like
he's a
Baron?
replicant.
Well, he don't
I
have
don't.
to
I
be a
don't think.
duplicate, but what drops, what items drop is definitely a system thing. When he beat him, he got those items. As soon as he got the items, another quest opens up.
But what I'm saying is, I bet Jin could have took that rune and instead of using it, he could have
He
sold
could
it.
have
And
sold it
somebody
off
else could have used it and got the same power.
Okay,
Runes,
that is true.
because he
runes
could have
don't seem
also
to be
sold the Orb of
exclusive.
Avarice also.
Again, also true. But here's the thing about it: the thing the system did when they gave him the rune, he was literally put into another situation where he would need to use it. I mean, he was being overrun by knights and mages and almost died right there. Therefore, they put him in a situation where he would have to use the rune as soon as he got it. And then
Well,
once he used the rune,
they didn't use it until he went to the penalty zone.
well, yeah, but I'm saying, but like he went to the
But
penalty zone, got stronger, and he's like, okay,
I think
I'm
I
gonna need
think
to use
anybody could
this.
have used it.
That's what I'm saying. But they put him in the situation where he would need to use it. It wasn't like, it didn't make it dangerous for him.
We're back.
Therefore, I
No,
mean,
but
like, it's in my opinion only, it seems too convenient. And
what I think is like his skills are exclusive, right? Save shadows, shadow storage, domain of monarch, shadow exchange. All those are exclusive and part of the scenario of the class change quest that the architect put together. But I have a feeling that the Dominator's Touch, actually in the light novel, they don't call it Dominator's Touch, they call it Ruler's Hand. I think that was something not in the equation. I think maybe somebody else had plans with that.
I mean, as much as they were trying to give him the monarch title, and then they started to liken him to the rulers or the nation levels. Not too long ago, maybe a couple chapters on the plane, like they tried to separate him, and they tried to bring him back down to rulers. I'm like, I'm willing to bet almost anything that my theory is correct. Because if that's not the case, then you have, I mean, maybe the other rulers, they called the ruler that was connected to Gogan He the brightest brilliant light or something like that. When I read
The most brilliant fragment of light.
yeah, so that maybe that is the king, or he was one of the kings, or one of the strongest. But at the same time, if Jinwoo has been at maybe half strength, maybe 3/4 strength, is still stronger than they are as of right now. Maybe their original forms are crazy strong, but you're looking at a form that is way stronger than Jin Woo that hasn't even gotten here yet. And unless the story is going to go on for another year or two, then it's
No, I
getting
don't think
towards
it's
the
going
end
that
game.
far.
So
I mean, just today we covered 3 chapters, so
yeah,
we don't have
you're only
much to
left with a
go.
certain amount of things. So if the war's been going on for centuries, eons, whatever, it has to be equal in some aspect. Like the war has to keep going, and if one side, as of right now, it's like the Monarchs is just way stronger until there's enough magical power, then Jin being on the other side doesn't make any sense. Monarch, Ashbourne being on the other side means he's way too strong. An undead or shadow army seems way too strong to be on one side. That's just me.
Could Ashbourne be trying to direct Jin towards a more neutral position?
Neutral doesn't really end a war. It just keeps a war going.
Yeah, but I don't feel like he cares about that. All he cares about is being the gatekeeper for the abyss, for death.
Maybe.
Because like
Of course.
when I think of the architect and what happens there, what was supposed to happen versus what did happen. What was supposed to happen was Ashbourne was supposed to take over Jin,
Right.
and arise as another monarch, as himself.
Right.
But what I feel like is he showed Jin the moment when two of the monarchs betrayed him.
Right.
So, and even the giant monarch told him, "Hey, both sides don't like you." So, but it almost feels like Ashbourne's fine with that. Like he doesn't want to be on either side.
Yeah, but if he was fighting on the side of the rulers, then there's no reason for the rulers not to like him. Unless, which is my theory, that he defected from the ruler side and went to the monarch side. I still haven't figured out why he would do that. That's where my theory is kind of falling apart. But at the same time, it does go for the fact of if he's on the monarch side and Baron and the Beast Monarch didn't like it, it's like, hey, you're originally a ruler, then we're going to betray you because we want to keep fighting. So therefore, that would be the reason why they betrayed him.
No. I don't know why they betrayed him, but regardless, I think, of course, now it's always like raps for them as far as like that's the reason why I guess the Seraph Monarch has taken the route that he's taken, thus far. But yeah, I don't think I just don't know. There's just no real evidence or really tie. I don't even know if I want there to be a relationship between Sung Jin Woo and the rulers because there's really just been no ties of that right now, or hints of that. So I don't know. I feel like it'd come out of nowhere.
Could be true. That's why it is a theory. But enough theory talk from me here, because we're just going around in circles right now until the story gives us more. We won't know. But thank you everyone for joining the Hunter Association podcast. Thank you, Christian, for filling in this last
No
minute.
problem.
For me, alwaysjcarson, Seraph, who is I think gone right now.
I'm right here.
He is back. And Trent Money, Trent Monet.
Yes, sir.
We are out of here, guys.
You already know who the fuck it is.
Yes, Kenny
Peace.
Dagger's awesome.
Hope you guys have a wonderful night, everybody in chat, and as well as the people sitting here right now.
Definitely going to sleep. Gotta work in the morning.
Same, Buckaroo.
PK Jack Crow on Twitch too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes,
Exactly.
PK Jack Crow on
100%.
Twitch. He explains a lot of stuff from various webtoons and mangas, from the light novels to their manga or webtoon counterpart.
I think it's called Let Me Explain, by the way.
Yep, let me explain.
It is. I just did slime today.
Yep, I was there for that. It was good. I enjoyed it a lot.
I didn't even know. Actually, we did talk about
Never.
daggers, but they look cool. They're just like they came from commish. All right.
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
came from commission. Well, Kirk, do you
Now-
think they're stronger or weaker than the ones that he has now?
Very much
Stronger,
stronger.
for
Not even
sure.
close.
For sure.
Not even close. Very much stronger.
And
Okay.
is there going to be some type of reaction to him,
Like
Like-
passive abilities or like
or maybe
Definitely level
even
up.
like
He's level up.
summoning of the original?
Nah.
Sorry,
imagine, bro, if these daggers give you the passive ability to summon commish once every like couple hours. That'd be fucking sick.
Can't. No, I don't want them to get any stronger than he is now.
Or at least the dragon in general. That'd be fucking sick.
Summon, yeah, I don't think it'll summon Kamish. Maybe it'll like give his give his dragon or like his wyvern currently maybe a little bit more ability or whatever. But I just meant like maybe in like calling or summoning the dragon monarch. So what if he takes that L because like the dragon monarch runs up on him and it's like, yo, give me my shit back?
I would love it. Wherever the L comes, I'm
That'd be
waiting on it.
crazy.
Waiting on it. Yes, good night, everybody. Going on, Jago.